prostitution. We're going to talk about prostitution in the Hunger Games. District 1 is a very interesting district. We get to see 4 tributes, but I'm going to really focus on 3 of them. We have Glimmer, we have Cashmere, and we have Gloss. So Cashmere and Gloss are siblings that won the Hunger Games. I actually don't remember what years they won, but they won. And they were in the Quarter Quell together. They actually are a very interesting pair because they decided to do the Hunger Games back to back. I think Gloss went first, and then he won, and then Cashmere followed behind him. The thing about Cashmere, though, she was different than Gloss. She won her Hunger Games, and Snow pretty much pimped her out, which is horrible. And I wish that Suzanne Collins would write a book about District 1, because District 1 is a weird district because they see the Hunger Games. It's like an exciting thing for them. They train the entire year and they volunteer at 18 or 17, one of those ages. Like the last age you can volunteer, they do it. Career districts are District 1, 2, 4, and sometimes 11. They talk about that in the book Songbirds and Snakes, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But yeah, it's a weird district. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss District 1. District 1 is the luxury district. So think luxury items, diamonds, different jewels, jewel tones, jewelries. All of that is in District 1. District 1 is not the capital. They are still district, so they don't get to own any of the things they make. It's still, I would say, kind of backbreaking labor. I think of its type as the mining district, like District 12, but it's just not as messy because diamonds, that's a tough business and you really have to like get your hands dirty for that. And I think the districts were doing that. So I want to focus on growing up in District 1. I would love to see a book or a movie, I don't mind. But I would like to see a book that focuses on that. You're growing up and you see everyone you know volunteering for the Hunger Games. Honestly, these games could probably last, like the Reaping Day could last a long time for them, because if everyone's volunteering, how would they actually pick who gets to have the final say so? I think that's very interesting too. But growing up in District 1, you're seeing all the people you know, they're all volunteering for the games. Everyone's probably talking about it because it's propaganda. Of course, they actually believe the games are better than they actually are. But you're growing up and you're actually training. You're learning survival skills. You're learning how to fight, fend for yourself, because let's be real, these games can last for weeks. Like it's not the olden days anymore. They don't last for a couple of hours because they just throw them in an arena. These arenas are made to trick your mind and just boost isolation, which makes you do crazy things. Because in Sunrise and the Reaping, we get to see how mad the games kind of drove Haymitch, because not only is he trying to survive, he's trying to make a poster for the Capitol, basically showing that this is a rebellion still and we're not just backing down. He just made it a little too obvious, but I'll talk about that in another video. But as I was saying, Capitol and District 1, they're not the same. So you're growing up, you finally get chosen to volunteer, and you're in the Hunger Games, you're so excited, you're like, I'm going to make allies, I'm going to fight people, I'm going to kill people, I'm going to make it to the end. Then you get in there, and you're like, hold on. This is not the way I think, this is not the way I thought it was going to be. Think Kato. Kato from the Hunger Games, he thought that he was this big, bad guy, and then he finally makes it to the games. He does really well. He's like final 3, and he just goes a little insane because then he realizes the games are not what I thought it would be. I thought this was going to be fun. I would get to kill all these people and win and live in the victor's village. My family gets all these treats. And it's just not like that. At the end of the day, these are all kids. really traumatized kids. Back to District 1. You make it, and somehow, some way, all of your training pays off and you win. Uh-oh. Let's talk about Cashmere. Can you imagine going through the games, winning, following your brother's footsteps and winning, and now you're a victor, you get to live in your own victor's village. And unbeknownst to you, people have been bidding on your body for, you don't even know how long, as long as you've been in the game, maybe even before that when you were doing the interviews with Caesar, and you get out the games, you think you're free to live in the victor's village and that you can be with your family, get to brag to everyone back at District 1 that you won the games, haha. And then you realize, I'm not going home. I'm going to be with President Snow, and he's going to sell my body to the highest bidder. And this is only you that knows this. I'm sure you can't tell anybody this is happening. And you know this is going on during your victory tour. You can't really go back home. You really don't even know anybody else is going through this. We know Finnick has been prostituted by the Capitol since he was 14 and won his games, which is horrible. And then Cashmere finally wins. And then she's prostituted. And that also makes me think, was there birth control in the Capitol? What did they do with pregnancies? Like, how did they make this work? I mean, I'm sure they like injected her with something, to be honest, but that's just, I cannot imagine. There's so many people and you have no control over your own body. That's insane. And then we can also see how this builds up. Remember, in the first Hunger Games movie and book, they talk about Glimmer. Glimmer was in Katniss's game, 74th Hunger Games. And when she is in her interviews, she is getting like weird treatment. She gets out and she gets to talk to Caesar or whatever, but she is in this like very short dress. This is in the movies that shows off her legs. And I believe in the books, she's wearing like an almost sheer dress. Like the color is almost sheer and it's very sparkly. So if you're looking at her, she looks like she's naked. Think Marilyn Monroe's dress when she sung Happy Birthday to John F. Kennedy. Think that. And I could be so wrong. I hope I'm not, but I really believe that's what happened in the books. But it's like they bring her out. It's like a way to show everyone in the audience she's going to be the one that you can bid on once she is done with her Hunger Games, if she wins. And also, let's be real, in the books, oh my gosh, I believe this is either the end of the Hunger Games first book or the very beginning of Catching Fire. So Katniss gets out of the first Hunger Games, and of course, you know, she's deaf in one ear. Peter's like bleeding out with his leg. It's a lot going on. But she's unconscious and she hears like screaming outside. Haymitch is advocating for her while she's unconscious. They tried, and by they, the Capitol, tried to literally give her a breast augmentation, a boob job, while she was already under anesthesia and everything. And you know why they did that? We can put two and two together for that. But they really want to give her a boob job because they were going to like pimp her out. And the only thing that saved her, this is why Haymitch was really fighting hard for the star-crossed lovers thing. Peeta saved Katniss. Like, if she was out there, she won the games by herself, because let's be real, she would have won the games. If she off Peeta like that, she would have been a winner. But if she got out, she would have been just like how Glimmer would have been, and how Cashmere and Finnick and so many others before her. And it's very sad. It's very sad to see. Like, I feel like Suzanne Collins' books were a lot. I can't even lie. They were a lot mentally. But if we got to really see the horrors of it, it definitely would not be a YA book. It would have to be like an adult fiction book. Like if she wants to go that far in, I think a lot of people would support her with it. Like it's still a lot of trauma happening in District 1, and I think the districts have so much propaganda in their minds that they're trying to fight against each other. But as Finnick would say, remember who the real enemy is. These are still kids at the end of the day, feeding into propaganda. You think they still don't have trauma and have issues once they get out? They've killed people. Like, even though they were bred for this, speaking of bred, do y'all think that in those career districts they actually intentionally breed with each other to have like bigger, stronger babies? Hold on. Am I cooking? Okay. So I actually do think they would. Think about it. If you've been raised a certain way, of course this wouldn't be a thing. Like I would say the first 30 Hunger Games, this wouldn't be a thing. But once it hits like 35, 40, it would make sense that of course they're thinking, I'm a girl that's like 6'2", I'm 180 pounds. I'm gonna go after a guy that's 6'5", 250. I really don't know like big weights for real. And I'm gonna have huge babies that are also gonna win the Hunger Games, and we're gonna be a victor family. Like it makes sense that this would happen because you have to think about how this would psychologically affect the districts. I think it's definitely worth putting out there that that could be very possible. So, what do y'all think? Do y'all agree? Are there some points that you disagree on? I would love to hear it. So, leave some comments down below. I'm going to try my very best to reply to everybody. So, thanks, guys. Bye. See y'all later.